Hey Vikings Nation! What's up, purple people eaters? Strap in, because today's Minnesota Vikings news is one of those stories that quietly shakes the league and hits close to home in Minneapolis. A familiar name is on the move, an old Green Bay connection is back in the spotlight, and the Vikings are officially losing a key piece of their offensive brain trust. This one starts in Pittsburgh, but trust me, it matters a lot for the Minnesota Vikings. So stay with me because we're breaking down what Brian Angelichio's departure really means, how it connects to Mike McCarthy, Aaron Rodgers rumors, and why Vikings fans absolutely should care about this move heading into 2026. What's going on, Vikings fans? Today we're diving into a coaching move that flew a bit under the radar nationally, but has serious implications for the Minnesota Vikings. Brian Angelichio, the Vikings passing game coordinator and tight ends coach, is officially heading to Pittsburgh to become the Steelers' new offensive coordinator. And yes, that makes him a first-time OC in the NFL. This isn't just a promotion for Angelichio. It's also a reminder of how respected he's become inside NFL circles during his time with the Vikings. Let's set the stage. Angelichio spent the last 4 seasons in Minnesota, working closely with the Vikings quarterbacks and tight ends, helping shape the aerial attack week after week. His fingerprints were all over the passing concepts, route combinations, and situational designs that helped keep the Vikings competitive offensively, even through roster changes and injuries. Now, that continuity is gone, and Vikings fans are right to ask what comes next. But before we focus fully on Minnesota, we need to understand why Pittsburgh wanted Angelichio so badly. This move is deeply tied to Mike McCarthy, the Steelers' new head coach and a very familiar name to NFC North fans. McCarthy and Angelichio go way back, all the way to Green Bay. From 2016 to 2018, Angelichio served as the tight ends coach for the Packers under McCarthy, working directly with Aaron Rodgers during one of the most explosive stretches of that offense. That relationship matters. NFL coaching hires are built on trust, and McCarthy clearly trusts Angelichio's football mind. It's also worth noting that Angelichio isn't new to Pittsburgh either. Before his NFL rise, he coached tight ends at the University of Pittsburgh from 2006 to 2010 under Dave Wannstedt. So this hire is part reunion, part promotion, and part long-term vision for McCarthy's new era with the Steelers. For Angelichio, this is a massive career milestone. At 53 years old, he finally gets his shot to run an entire offense, calling plays, setting weekly game plans, and shaping an identity from top to bottom. That's not something you hand to someone unless you truly believe in them. And the Vikings were a big reason he earned that belief. Now here's where things get really interesting, the Aaron Rodgers factor. As of right now, Rodgers has not publicly committed to returning to Pittsburgh for a second season under McCarthy. But hiring a coach who knows Rodgers intimately? That's not an accident. Angelichio has years of experience coaching Rodgers, understanding his preferences, his timing, and how to build an offense that lets him control the game at the line of scrimmage. If Rodgers does return, this offense suddenly makes a lot more sense. And if he doesn't, Angelichio still has a talented group to work with. Jaylen Warren out of the backfield, DK Metcalf on the outside, Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith at tight end. That's a group with serious upside, and Angelichio's background with tight ends fits perfectly. But let's bring this back home to Minnesota, because this is Minnesota Vikings news first and foremost. The Vikings are losing a coach who played a major role in developing their passing structure over multiple seasons. That's not nothing. Continuity matters in the NFL, especially on offense. When a passing game coordinator leaves, it impacts terminology, teaching methods, and how quarterbacks are coached week to week. Whoever replaces Angelichio will inherit his work, but they won't replicate his voice overnight. This puts pressure on the Vikings' offensive staff to adapt quickly in 2026. It also raises big questions about internal promotions versus external hires. Do the Vikings elevate from within to preserve continuity? Or do they bring in a new voice with fresh ideas, knowing there will be growing pains? That decision could quietly shape the Vikings' offensive ceiling next season. And let's not forget the numbers Angelichio is inheriting in Pittsburgh. Under former OC Arthur Smith, the Steelers ranked 15th in scoring offense and 25th in total offense in 2025. That's middle-of-the-pack production, not bad, but not elite. Angelichio's job is simple in theory and brutal in reality. Make it better. Whether it's Rodgers, a young quarterback, or a bridge option under center, Angelichio will be expected to modernize and maximize that offense immediately. That's the same challenge he faced and often succeeded with in Minnesota. From a Vikings fan perspective, there's also a bit of pride here. Another Vikings coach getting poached for a coordinator role means the league respects what's being built in Minnesota. It means teams are watching, studying, and hiring from the Vikings staff. That's usually a sign of a healthy organization. But it also means the Vikings must constantly reload. Strong staffs don't stay intact forever, and this is another reminder of that reality. So Vikings fans, how do you feel about this loss? Do you think Angelichio was a quiet difference maker who'll be hard to replace? Or do you believe the Minnesota Vikings have enough offensive stability to absorb this change without missing a beat? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear where you stand on this one. And keep your eyes open, because this coaching carousel isn't done yet. More moves are coming, more dominoes will fall, and every single one of them can impact the Vikings in ways we don't see immediately. That's why we're here, breaking down every angle of Minnesota Vikings news, no matter where it starts. If you enjoyed this deep dive, smash that like button, subscribe for daily Vikings updates, and share this video with every Vikings fan you know. Purple family, stay loud, stay passionate, and as always, Skol!